What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers have several needs, but for the most part, a good idea of the structure of the Lakers roster is intact, right? You got LeBron James who can play the 3 or the 4. They got Anthony Davis that can play the 5 or the 4. Got guys like Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt that can play the 3 or the 4. You got, Austin Reeves, Max Christie. You have the 2 new draft picks and Lewis and Shafino. You have D'Angelo Russell, which I imagine that they probably keep and re-sign unless they can find a trade for. The Lakers have a good majority, like the structure and the core of the roster intact. But one of the clear blatant holes, I feel, is the center position, right? And that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. Again, Lakers could use some shooting, stuff like that, but they've gotten by for so long without being a quality shooting team. Even when they won the championship a couple years ago, they were one of the worst shooting teams in the league. Lakers just made the Western Conference Finals as one of the worst shooting teams in the league. And so I feel that that's not like a huge necessity. You're going to need several pieces to really elevate yourself to one of the better shooting teams in the league. So one of the things that could be an easy fix that could make your team better is addressing the center position. Now, Anthony Davis still is one of the best center positions in the league, right? He is best with his skill set and his versatility at the center spots. But it's when he's not playing the center minutes and him and his desire to play center. Now, a lot of the reason AD has to play center is because LeBron James at this point in his career is best suited at the 4. He just is better at his age, with the energy that he has to preserve, all that stuff. Him chasing around smaller, quicker, athletic type threes is just not good for him over the course of an 82-game season, where he can kind of stick to guys. And most 4s are perimeter or interior oriented. So LeBron can kind of rest, or you got the guys that just kind of stand in the corner. LeBron's better suited there. But to get Anthony Davis some minutes and just to go get a sizable guy for like the Jokic's of the world, right? The Lakers could use that. Now, Anthony Davis still probably plays minutes at center, even if the Lakers were to get a center. Unless the Lakers end up getting somebody like a Miles Turner or something, very likely he is going to still play center a good majority of the time. And even if you do get a Miles Turner, there still is a real possibility that Anthony Davis plays the center spot, right? You have Miles Turner. When Miles Turner's on the bench, you could have AD at the 5. That's probably how it's going to go. But you still need at least a backup or serviceable center that can come in, provide some minutes. Anthony Davis is going to miss 30-plus games over the course of a season, so you need a big man, right? We saw what guys like Thomas Bryant were able to do. Problem with Thomas Bryant is he was great offensively for the Lakers and just kind of fit the need offensively, but he was literally, not my opinion, this was a statistical fact, was the worst defensive center in the league. Again, not my opinion, it was a literal fact. So the Lakers need somebody that can be versatile on both sides, right? Maybe not even so much on the offensive end, but at least the defensive end. Obviously, you'd love to have a guy that could spread the floor, but it's very thin and slim pickings for the center spot in free agency. So what do the Lakers do? Now, obviously, they could stay with the young guys, right? They have Mo Bamba already on the roster. Lakers are shopping Mo Bamba because he's making $10 million a year. He's just not worth that. And he wasn't even able to play for the Lakers, really, because he was hurt the whole time. And that's been a real problem for him over his career. So he's a guy that they could keep, try to develop. But I still believe, even if you were to keep Mo Bamba, you need a veteran big. You need somebody, right? At that point, I'm not really big on like Dwight Howard, but bring somebody like that in that's just a veteran for those big moments, that has that experience, that when, the game's on the line and you need a big body, you can throw somebody in that isn't going to mess it up, right? You need a traditional center, right? We need somebody with some good size. Now, Mo Bamba does fit the mold, but Mo's got a lot of problems, right? So outside of the injury thing, he's very undisciplined on the defensive end. He's a good shot blocker and just help defender. It's because he has like a 7'10" wingspan, right? So that helps a lot. But he also he can't stay out of foul trouble. This is a guy that averages like 3 fouls per 9 minutes of play. That means in 15 minutes a game, he's going to foul out. And so that becomes a real problem because that leads to free throws and all kinds of stuff, right? And teams target him when he's on the court because they know he gets foul happy. Yes, his ability to stretch the floor and shoot the three ball at 40% is nice, right? And that could be something that would be very helpful, very beneficial. But again, he's very raw, needs some work. And the Lakers are in this window where they kind of need to win now. Mo Bamba is like your third big. Sure, right? You kind of take the time to develop him, but he's also 25 already, so that's a bit of a concern. And then the Lakers just brought in on a two-way Colin Castleton, who I am really high on. I like him a lot. I think he has a lot of potential and could be one of the guys that makes the Lakers roster. And I think that he actually makes Mo Bamba expendable, right? Because you got a guy in Castleton who doesn't really stretch the floor, but he does like everything else really well. And he's a guy that you could even run your offense through because he's a great passer out of that center spot. So he's a guy that I think could come in and maybe kind of round up. But again, I kind of lean towards him being your third big rather than your backup big, right? Like, I think, yes, could you start either of these guys next to Anthony Davis? Sure, but how comfortable would you be in like a game 7 in the Western Conference Finals going up against Denver again? Like, would you want either of these guys guarding Jokic? Probably not, because they're probably getting eaten alive. And not saying that anybody can just stop Jokic, but there's a big difference between a young buck who's just going to get dismantled and a guy that has experience that knows, like, okay, I'm not going to bite on this fake, or I'm going to stand my ground here, or I'm not going to get bullied, right? Like, that's a big difference. So, yes, I do think you should keep at least one of these two guys. I don't think that this is the answer. Now, Mo Bamba is rumored to be wanted by Chicago, that the Chicago Bulls want him and that he wants to play for Chicago. Could you go get a guy like Andre Drummond and maybe also get like an Alex Caruso in the process, right? That could be nice. Andre Drummond, I know a lot of people aren't really high on Andre Drummond, but it's a completely different time. When we got Andre Drummond last time, he was still the guy. He was still like leading the league in rebounds and blocks and stuff like that. He thought he was a number one option on a team. He thought he was prime Dwight Howard. There's a big difference between that Drummond and the Drummond we have now, which is he understands that he's a backup at this point, doesn't have like the modern stuff. He can start, he can back up. He was one of, if not arguably the best backup big in the league this past year. He could be used. A guy that has experience but is still young enough to be on the roster for several years, is going to be dirt cheap, isn't going to cost much. He's making like a vet minimum, if I'm not mistaken, or just slightly above. That could be something that the Lakers could potentially look at. Also, sticking with trades, perfect world, you could go get a Miles Turner, right? That would be nice. But in reality, are you really going to be able to do that? Is Indiana really going to work with it? Miles Turner has been rumored to the Lakers for the last like 2 years now. And look, Miles Turner, the Lakers had an opportunity, like a real opportunity to get Miles Turner, and then Genie said no and vetoed it. But now, does Indiana want to go that route still? Like, what's the alternative? Now, maybe you could trade for another center, not named Drummond, not named Miles Turner, but you're not going to be able to get a quality caliber center, right? Like, Porzingis would have been cool, but he's just making so much money, right? So that's where the problem lies, is finding a center on the trade market that isn't going to break the bank for the Lakers and provide what the Lakers need. There just aren't really guys like that out there. There just aren't. So the Lakers are very limited in the center position and what they could get. I see so many people talk about, like, we need a center, we need this, we need size, we need that. And, like, that's great and all, but, like, from where? And then whenever I throw out, like, reasonable, realistic possibilities, like an Andre Drummond, people are like, I don't want him, he sucks. Okay, well, then give me, like, we're probably not getting a Miles Turner. I would love to get Miles Turner. Is it possible? Sure. But the likelihood of that is far less likely than an Andre Drummond. And so when you're talking about potential trades, you got to look at, like, what is realistic? What can we really get without breaking the bank? Like, Rob Pelinka isn't going to trade a bunch of first-round picks for a center position unless it is like an Embiid. But then everybody in the league is going after that, and we're very limited on what we could get. Could we get like a Mitchell Robinson? Maybe, but is he worth is he worth the first round pick, the 2029 first, or would you rather save that for something else and just go get a serviceable big? You don't need a dominant, best big in the league type thing. If you could get that, great. But you just need somebody that can come in, play 15 minutes a game, provide some relief, maybe start some nights. That's what the Lakers ultimately need. If you can get a Miles Turner, that'd be great. And I'm all for it. I would love to get Miles Turner now. But again, how valuable is that option? So then you look into free agency. Free agency is slim pickings. All of the centers that we need or could want are probably unaffordable, right? Like Brook Lopez would be perfect, but how realistic is that, right? And something else you got to keep in mind when you're talking about free agents is the money that we can offer. Teams like Dallas, teams like Phoenix can all offer the same amount of money, right? And the difference is they can offer the play time, right? Like Brook Lopez, yes, he comes to Lakers. How many minutes is he playing per game? Are they really going to allow Brook Lopez to play 30, 35 minutes a game with Anthony Davis? And you got to get Rui Hachimura minutes, and you got to get LeBron James his minutes, and there's not enough minutes for everybody, right? So who's getting cut? Somebody has to get cut because you can only play. So if you have LeBron James at the 3, and then you have Anthony Davis at the 4, and then you have, let's say, Brook Lopez at the 5, those 3 are playing those 3 positions probably at least 30 minutes a game. So then that means you only have those positions freed up for 10 minutes. Yes, you can play AD, at the center spot for 10 minutes a game, and then play Rui, or move LeBron to the 4 and play Vando, but the minutes become very slim pickings. So do you affect the other guys that want to be there? And then even if it's like, okay, who cares, right? You get a Brook Lopez, sure, but he could do the same thing, go to a team like Phoenix, and he's guaranteed those minutes. He's guaranteed to play. Or go to Dallas, and he's guaranteed those minutes, and he's guaranteed to play. So that's something that needs to keep in mind. And then the other guys that are like big, high profile that like the Lakers would be awesome to get are undersized. Like Naz Reid, I would love Naz Reid, but he's a small ball center. He's not a real center. We need a center. We need somebody that can bang with the Jokic's, that can provide quality sizable minutes. Like Naz Reid would be great next to Anthony Davis. Don't get me wrong. I would love it. If the Lakers go and get Naz Reid, I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. But is Naz Reid the answer for a Jokic problem? Is he the answer for an Embiid problem? No, he's going to get eaten alive. He's too small, right? Like he would be great for a matchup against the Warriors. Yeah, because, Naz Reid at 6'9" or whatever he is, like that, again, that becomes the problem. So it's like, what do the Lakers do at the center position? I personally think the Lakers, if you can get a Brook Lopez, then fine, go get a Brook Lopez, right? If you can get a Miles Turner trade, then go get a Miles Turner trade. But realistically, I think you either try to go and make a move for a small center, like I said, an Andre Drummond, right? Somebody that's not going to cost much, that can come in and actually play the role that we need him to. Or you go sign somebody like a Mason Plumlee who can do everything that we need and is going to cost pennies on the dollar, and you go fill out the rest of the holes. You go fill out the rest of your needs. That's kind of the direction that I lean. Again, if you can get a Brook Lopez, if you can get a Miles Turner, great. But more than likely, you're not going to be able to get those guys. So what's plan B? Plan B, in my opinion, is to go get, like I said, a Plumlee, go get a Drummond, something like that can just be a veteran, big body that is like, look, you're going to start some games, you're going to come off the bench some games you're going to play 30 minutes, some games you're going to play 10 minutes, some games you might not even play at all. I need you to be okay with that. And they say, yeah, sure. And they're just willing to come in and play whatever role is asked of them. That's what I think the Lakers need. But those are my thoughts and opinions. And as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think the answer for the Lakers is? Do you think just keep the young bucks and go that route and just, take it from there? Do you think, no, go try to make a trade for a guy? Do you think just, like I said, sign a Mason Plumlee or something like that and you're golden? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear them. So let me know down in the comment section.